I'm also the current and new chairperson of the Nelson Mandela Foundation. And I wish to remind all delegates present in the meeting that on the 18th of July, it's Nelson Mandela International Day. And it is the day on which Nelson Mandela asked each one of us to devote 1 hour to doing something for another person or a needy community. So I hope all of you have plans for the 18th of July when you will honor the request of the late President Nelson Mandela, who asked only this one thing of all of us human beings. Allow me to begin by thanking Dr. Zepp LaRouche and the team at the Schiller Institute for inviting me to participate in this very important Berlin conference. I regret that I'm unable to be physically present as I am currently in the United States of America. I believe this Berlin meeting is extremely important. For Africans, as you would know, the concept of a Berlin conference can be a frightening reminder of our colonial past and the 19th century role Berlin played in sanctioning colonialism. I therefore applaud the Schiller Institute for bringing the voice of freedom, justice, peace, and security to Berlin, and I hope that Berlin will take the lead in creating world conditions in the globe that are a counterweight to the current hostile environment that has been created by the most powerful in the world. The Schiller Institute has taken on a very important task of generating fresh and informed conversations about our world today. All of you present here are aware that we are at or near the tipping point as the global community, particularly with respect to the possible eruption of an unmanageable global conflict, a global war, or indeed a trade war that will cause immense harm, particularly to developing countries. The Institute's initiative for building an international peace coalition is going to be an important contributor to the development of a new global partnership and a fresh approach to multilateralism. I wish to affirm that as South Africa and many countries on the African continent, we firmly believe in a multipolar world, and we believe multilateralism is most appropriately supported through an efficient, effective, and reformed United Nations, particularly its Security Council, which has to play its role of ensuring peace and security. The continent of Africa supports all initiatives for peace. Peace is good. Peace is very closely associated with development. Our continent, Africa, remains challenged by poor or inadequate infrastructure, by low levels of industrialization, by poor manufacturing capacity, and by the absence of technology innovation for adding value to Africa's rich natural resources. In addition, Africa suffers from internecine conflicts, a lack of democracy in many countries, and weak human rights practices, as well as public institutions that cannot execute a public service role efficiently. All of these add to the significant problems that Africa has. But fortunately, Africa has begun to focus on solutions. Digital technologies and innovation are finding roots in African economies, such as Kenya, Nigeria, Rwanda, and South Africa. Increased investment in agriculture and basic social services, such as health and education, are also supporting significant progress. In my view, the most important development is the African Union-led Agenda 2063 for the Africa we want. Agenda 2063 provides an implementable framework for the development of Africa, an Africa that all Africans desire by 2063. Our African Union is steering and leading implementation of this agenda and is seeking partnerships with international collaborators to assure that we achieve implementation of the 17 priority initiatives set out in Agenda 2063. The conflict in Sudan, as well as the delayed return to democracy in several West African states, has delayed notable progress on our Agenda 2063. But despite this, it is a blueprint that enjoys wide currency on the African continent. The Oasis Plan that has been published by the Schiller Institute complements the aspirations of Africa, and there should be collaboration in implementing these development plans, and in our view, Europe can play an extremely important role in such collaboration. Furthermore, both the Oasis Plan and Agenda 2063 link very neatly to the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. All of these development plans should be the focus of the global community, and it is most concerning that current global discourse does not refer at all to development. Current discourse is very masculine, it's very conflict directed, and it is totally at odds with the SDGs, with Africa's Agenda 2063, and with the Oasis Plan. It is vital for delegates at this conference to find ways of reaching out to world leaders, leaders that are part of the G7, that are part of BRICS, that are part of G20. And in one voice, we should gather sufficient momentum to persuade these leaders that more growth, more development, and more security would be achieved if these plans became the core of global action. We need to make it clear to world leaders that we expect them to move away from the current trajectory and to give dedicated attention to a focus on global development. The negative and toxic geopolitical environment in which military power and economic bullying are dominant will never contribute to building a better world. Efforts at securing global cooperation need to be intensified, and increased attention to building respect for multilateralism, respect for international law, are the only routes to creating a world in which inequality, poverty, and exclusion could be addressed. These three problematiques are the key focal areas the global community should unite on. The conference that you're holding today needs to arrive at Berlin conclusions that affirm collaboration, that support investment in the vulnerable and marginalized, and conclusions that strongly reject conflict and increased militarism. I hope that the deliberations you have today will set a new agenda for the global community, and will begin a process of turning countries away from the attitude of seeking to destroy each other. We have seen reversals due to the conflictual environment in our progress with gender equality, in our progress with non-racism, in our progress with development. It is thus urgently necessary for all of us in the global community to join together in creating a world that is more just, that is peaceful, and that is focused on ensuring all have a livelihood and all can enjoy development. I am sure that it is possible for these objectives to be pursued. From the history of South Africa in the combating of apartheid, it has been proven beyond any doubt that the global community can come together in international solidarity to combat an evil, a crime against humanity, and to ensure that all persons enjoy freedom and justice. The world assisted South Africa in the international anti-apartheid movement to achieve freedom after many decades. The world can join together today to create a foundation for securing peace, justice, and development for those who do not enjoy these rights. We need to change the focus of the world toward positive ends. And the work being led by Dr. Zep LaRouche, as well as the team at the Schiller Institute, is providing us with a clear basis for pursuing the objectives I have referred to. I hope you will join the Schiller Institute in this important endeavor, and I look forward to seeing the conclusions for a massive growth in the International Peace Coalition, and for us from country to country, defining how we will act to ensure that we positively impact on world affairs today.